The liberation of the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine in 2023. You may perceive my view as too skeptical and pessimistic, but I think it has more optimism than inappropriate at sharing. I could be wrong, of course, but currently, I often hear about the liberation of Ukraine by summer 2023, by the end of 2023 and some other variations. But at the same time, I have never heard on what exactly, based on the information and data allowed for discussion in open sources, these assumptions are based. Yes, Russian troops are suffering significant losses, exhausting resources, depleting and demilitarizing by the day, but there are a number of factors that significantly affect the scenarios for the liberation of the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine, depending on the location. Let's start small. At present, how many temporarily occupied locations are there in the combat zone? My regular viewers would answer, 5 locations: left bank Kherson region, part of Zaporizhia region, Luhansk region, Donetsk region, and Crimea. But this is simplified. In the current war zone on the territory of Ukraine there are not 5 but 7 temporarily occupied locations. We must not forget that the Donetsk and Luhansk regions were occupied twice. What has been occupied since 2014 and those territories that were seized during the full-scale invasion in 2022. These are the territories that were occupied in 2022 and are the 2 additional locations. This is a more accurate and realistic representation of the combat map than the previous description, which indicates only 5 temporarily occupied locations. I'll explain later why that is. And now on counter-offensives. How long on average does it take the AFU to prepare a counterattack at a particular bridgehead? As 2022 showed, from 3 to 5 months. For example, preparations for the liberation of the right bank Kherson region began in May and Kharkiv region in June. Yes, now the resources of the Russian troops are being depleted, and we can predict that the average period of preparation of conditions for a counterattack could be 3 months. Let's assume that this is the case and consider each location individually, taking into account today's conditions. The most comfortable conditions for a counterattack now are in the part of the Luhansk region that was occupied in 2022. But there are a number of factors that could significantly stimulate this process, such as weather conditions. But this will change literally in the next few days. On Zaporizhia location conditions are still forming and the final process of their maturation is expected in the first quarter of 2023. Left bank Kherson region depends on Zaporizhia location. Therefore, the southern bridgehead as a whole can be liberated before the summer of 2023. That is, the territories of Ukraine captured in 2022 by the occupants will be fully liberated at the turn of spring-summer 2023. And then it will reach the borders of the territories occupied since 2014. And there the more serious problem for the armed forces of Ukraine begins. These are the defense lines that have been formed since 2014. It is more effective logistics, supply and management of Russian troops units. These are many aspects that will have to be taken into account in a counterattack in these areas, regardless of the degree of depletion of the Russian occupiers' army. Thus, the average 3 to 4 months for creating the conditions for counteroffensive in these locations, even if they are appropriate, may extend beyond 2023 and will depend on various factors, including the delivery of more powerful weapons from partners. However, the important point is that in any case, all of these territories will be returned and the enemies will be defeated.